Hi, Katie here at AHA Pilates. And I've had a 25-year career as a Pilates teacher. And what we're about to get into is some of the sort of progressions and sort of functional steps to get into some of these very sort of deeply set conditionings that we use in the Pilates work, that deep wrapping action of the center line of the body. More recently, I've become a Franklin Method educator, which has both really supported a lot of the things I knew intuitively as a teacher, and also given me this large toolbox to work with in terms of training the mind and the body dynamic much more functionally. All right, so we're going to start with just a tiny bit of warm-up from the Franklin Method, and then we'll move into some of the Pilates mat flow. So take a moment here to ground yourself. Notice your soles of your feet might gently kind of widen. You might sense the yield a little deeper into your feet, as you might sense a little give in the backs of your knees. And then pause and feel that the pelvic bone, can kind of rest there. Yeah, it rests easily. The thigh bones work to buttress up and support the pelvic bone. And then feel that next breath comes into like a three-dimensional space of your rib cage. And the shoulders settle easily, the neck can kind of spring long. And let that next breath just be sensed. And then I'll take a moment to tap. So go right to your heart space. This is right under the sternum, a little bit to the left. And you're tapping to inspire a little bit more sensory reception in your tissues, so we get a better proprioception. We get a better map of our bodies as we start to kind of move into more complex training. And then go to one side. So you'll just tap the top and the bottom of, say, your right shoulder. And go into your neck space a little bit, go into the back where the shoulder blade is. And then tap down the length of your arm. Once you feel like you've gotten to each point at least once, you might feel a little tingly in the arm. Brush the arm, and here we imagine we're brushing out excess tension out of there. There it goes. And then shake the arm. And then shake the same leg. And maybe you imagine you're like shaking out any excess of tension. And then take a moment to notice your size. Do you feel a difference between the side that you've just done a few things with and the side we haven't? And it's usually like maybe a little more integrated, a little more grounded. Feel the shoulder hangs a little, the arm hangs a little longer even. And then let's go to the second side. So feel the left side. Into the neck, right around that trapezius, right next to the neck where it's a little dense, towards the shoulder blade and back. You might even feel moved to move a little bit as you're getting that kind of sensation of the tap. And then all the way throughout this arm, down the arm, up the arm. You imagine each tap is kind of turning on another light for us to sense and feel into. And then brush out this arm. So you kind of brush excess tension out of there. Yeah. And then shake the arm out. And then shake the same leg. And again, we might just shake out. Any excess, hopefully we feel a little bit more ready for the Pilates work. Let's work into that. So we're going to work into that. I'm going to give you a profile view. The bend of the knees and a deepening into a squat, right? So the most important thing about squat is that we're creasing deep into the hip joints to feel there's good force transfer. And then you're going to start to reach the arms very gently to that. So the arms maybe kind of cue a little bit more of that lengthening back in the tailbone. Yeah, and then for just some differentiation and swing, start to swing your arms. And you might swing a little faster as you lower down. And a little more suspension on the way up. You might feel like you want to get into a little bit more of that Pilates work. You could use the weights for this. Now let's just stay here for 8 and 7, 6. Can you feel your ribs are twisting a little bit as you're working? 3. Deeper and deeper through the squat until you reach long once again through both arms, and you're going to lower yourself down. If that works for you, otherwise just bring yourself to a seated position. Yeah, in the most comfortable way. Okay, so, and that kind of goes for the training in general. If some exercise is not working, you're just going to kind of breathe easy and move on to the next. Pilates should not strain your back or your neck. So we tip the pelvic bone back. We feel the ribs get wide in the back. Here's our C curve, spinal flexion, head-tail connection. And we just kind of pulse into that. Notice the belly wall can deepen, but I like to think more about the openings that are happening. So can you feel your back ribs are getting wider? Your shoulders might melt a little bit more. And once we've done that, take your time to roll into your back, nice and slow. And feel the wealth and the width of your back gently settles. And always important to ground ourselves, so we just give that extra moment. Maybe your head wants to go side to side, and just check in with your neck time to time. And once you've done that, arms to the side, I just like to engage with bridge pretty regularly as a way to sort of feel more of the coupling right between the abdominals and the back line of the leg. And then more sort of alignment piece, like the shoulders can widen and lean, soles of the feet, and the line of the knees and the hips. Breathe into that, maybe a little more elevation if that feels right for you. And when I say that, I'm talking about at the tailbone. And then when you pour from your heart downward, you trickle the spine. And getting nice and heavy as the sacrum drops, we hug our knees to chest. And here we go, flowing into the Pilates work. The first thing is the 100. You curl your nose to your knees. Create a nice tight ball shape in the body. And the arms lengthen out. The heels reach. You choose the angle that deepens best back into your low belly. And start to pump. 2, 3, 4, 5. And the next. 2, 3, 4, 5. That rhythm doesn't work for you. Choose another one. Exhale. 4. In. 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm feeling a little off key. So I'm going to come into an oppositional stretch as I pump. Okay, check that out if you like. Exhale here. Yeah, maybe giving a little more distal length to that core distal connection. Now bring the legs back together. See if you maybe found a little more to the center. Breathing in and then breathing out. One more breath cycle here. Exhale all the air. Curl yourself up a little deeper. Steady the arms. Hug your knees in. Soften back. Again, the head moving side to side, maybe momentarily. And then wrap around the backs of the legs. Curl up to a seated position. Here, lengthen over. And as you roll up, just give a little flexing and pointing, making sure that pattern of pinning the heel and kind of feeling that back line of the leg is really sort of anchoring you for your roll up. Arms reach over. And then start to roll back. Your heels are going to slide a little bit. Feel the pelvis works like a wheel, right? It's wheeling down and down and down. Here, where I feel a good challenge, I'm going to lift and lower the arms. The arms are going to get kind of lighter and featherier as I feel the abdominals deepen back. And then about halfway in that line, reach the arms, feel the ribs drop back, have those heels pinning down all the way, and then open back, a glorious yawn open, and then arms curling the head weight down. And then I flow through that 2 more times. Hopefully feeling more of that bone by bone, so hardly any surging. Try to get a nice smooth motion through, especially in those first moments up. Okay, stretch over. And then we take this to a tree. So this I've just found is a lovely training tool for working deeper into kind of pattern of relationship of inner lining of the leg to deep belly wall. So you have the weight of your thigh bone. Thigh bone is the heaviest bone in the body. We're going to tip back in the pelvis. Feel that, again, the shoulders melt a little bit. And then you tip back a little further. And now either I'm rocking the entirety, right, of this relationship between femur and rib cage, or sometimes I feel like, oh, I need to kind of articulate my spine, or differentiate the articulation of the spine, to get a little more feedback into the abdominal connection there. And then once I've really made that connection, you see it kind of touch down into the low back, I'm going to walk up the leg. So the leg hopefully just kind of springs nicely from that work, right? It feels very rooted, well supported. And then I walk down the leg. And you use the training tool you need. So if you keep the knee bent through the process, that can be super useful. There is no cheating here, there's just training. So breathe in, and then lever your leg further up. Let's flex and point, flex and point. And then we get a twist in. So opposite hand to the outer leg and twist your spine. So you can really feel your sit bones support the action. And then as you come back around, release forward, stretch. Melt. You might give a little press to the knee. And then we have the second side. You might kind of notice the difference side to side. Wrap around the back of the leg, ground yourself, tip back,
All right, here's where we train a little bit. Yep, see, what do you need? Here, breathe into it. Move, either articulate the spine or rock the whole shape. Until you've kind of gotten what you need there, connected deep into the abdominal action so that leg just grows from that. Breathe here for a moment. I like to think I'm kind of pressing down into the hip joint, walk down, and lever that leg into your walk back up. One more time. Just check in with your shoulders. They're staying nice and adaptive. And then a few movements in the ankle, whatever you need for that foot. And then opposite hand, twist the spine. Pull the leg across, twist a little further. And then come through ankle towards hip. And again, soften. Sometimes I don't feel enough of that opening in the underside of the hip joint. Reach a little bit through the top of the head. All right, so we've done that. Let's roll a little bit. So come forward. Your back is feeling a little tighter. Hands come behind the thigh bones, otherwise in front of the shins. And just kind of find your center there in your balance point. Oh, sometimes we have a little favor in one side or the other. And then you'll roll back. Tailbone curls up and head curls in. And you just give yourself a little bit of grace and have fun with it. Yeah, feeling you're finding like a nice sense of passage. And then once you've found that, maybe you get a little bit more of that precision. Kind of staying really close in. You keep trying to find it with across your shoulders in the back. One more time. And exhale. And then send your hands to the back of the thigh. Let your thigh bones kind of usher the lower leg up a little bit. Breathe there. Maybe spread the toes, twist the toes a little bit. And then feel the heels lengthen, and we're going to tip the pelvic bone back. And you feel that changes, whoa, changes the practice. And then you're going to go further back, bringing the right knee in. Here we are in the series of 5. Single leg stretch, switch over. Oh, nice deep opposition of the leg. Feel that leg angles so it distributes deep so the shoulders are benefiting in their lift, right? You're not trying to go, it's not how low you can go, it's just how much, of that distribution you're sensing into core center. Once you finish your next set, we have a double leg, arms, legs, reach, circle around. And then reach and see if you can reach a little further. Feel that connection deep into your back. Reach further, around. We have 2 more to do. Reach further, around. 1 more. Reach further and around. Give yourself a moment here. Wow. The work gets kind of intense here and there, so just checking in, checking in. The shoulders can relax, the neck soft. And then take your legs and kind of shake them up to the ceiling. And then go ahead and wipe up the back of the legs. Feel their tailbone gets heavier and heavier. Now one leg moves away and pulse. This is where you're kind of getting into that straight leg work. So you just keep a good eye on your back. Back feels supported deep from the belly wall. Let's draw the legs together, double leg. Interlace your hands, you're going to lower. And then lift. Again, not how low can you go, but how much can you kind of really sense the return deep through the breath and belly. 1 more time. And the knees. Let's twist the spine, twist. And of course you could add repetition to any piece of this. Twist, and twist. And then we flow through the twist. Hopefully getting a good feeling of the coil between shoulders and hips. 1 more time. And then of course resting easily back. Breathe the air in, breathe the air out. And come to roll yourself up. You can place your hands behind thighs or just do what feels most intuitive. A little separation of the legs about the width of the mat, wider if you like. And then dive yourself forward. So you're going to slide your hands inside the legs, wrap around the inner heel, and feel your ribs move upward. Yeah, once you've felt a little spine stretch variation, interlace your hands. Draw the right elbow towards the outer right knee as the left elbow goes up. Just kind of glancing at some of these openings. Again, you could add repetition to any part of this. And then finally opening the arms out to the side, you twist your spine. As we dive, we feel ring the lungs. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Through your center line and twist and dive. Ring. 2, 3. Good, let's do that 1 more time. Yeah, such good quality in motion. Hopefully means we don't need a lot of repetition for those tones to set in place.
As you come back to center, you're going to bring yourself around. Just laying your forearms on the mat. And take a moment to kind of feel the center. The front of the pelvis is kind of anchoring down. You're reaching longer into the legs. I prefer the legs at a little bit of an angle, so you feel a nice sense of wrap from the outer to the inner hip. That supports that sort of yield and bind of your pubic symphysis and helps that elevated state of the chest. Breathe and curl the head weight, press into your elbows, and then breathe out in the air. Do that one more time. So we have a yield, push, curl, and then a reach, a pull in the shoulders, up. Light fist to the hand. Take the legs a little close for your single kick. You're going to bend the right knee. Pause for a moment. Can you feel the range of motion you're using is allowing you to stay settled in the front of the pelvis? Check that out on the other side. And then we got, so you might have a little pulse, 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 pulse. One more shot, right, right, left, left. Palms press down, tap toes. Come to your plank. If you're not planking today, on the knees is just fine, or staying in the Sphinx. See if you can feel the power in your back lung. Back of the ribs, tailbone reaching, heels lengthening back. And once you have that really nicely, lower the chest, lift. Serratus push-up, lift. One more, lower, lift, release down, reach out. So your starfish, just reach and reach and reach. All points lengthening. Hands are going to place under your shoulders. Take your time now, flow your motion up. How easy can you feel that extension in the spine? Bloody swan, right? Cobra sometimes referred to. Oh. And one more, nice and easy. And then from the head curling in, we make our way back to child stretch. Give yourself a moment. You might even roll to the top of your head. That usually feels good. Ooh. And then once you've really breathed into that moment, hands, knees, and you're just going to move around in all those spaces and shoulders and ribs around pelvis. Just check in, and it's just really healthy to move spontaneously. And you might have sort of your favorite thing you want to do here. I tend to like to let the ribs go side to side. And we're headed into some side work, so that could be a good precursor. So come down onto your elbow. You can, of course, do these all down on the side ribs. If you're on your elbow, make sure that's kind of in the back of the joint space a little bit more, so you can feel the shoulder blade settles back. The neck springs forth from there. Yep. And then a little side plank moment. So see if you can elevate up away from the pelvis. Training tool, this foot is down, and you might lift up and down and feel like that foot gets less and less necessary as you're training into it. Oh, oh, oh. And take a breath. The arm goes up, and you lower the pelvis down. And then we do our side leg series here. So we're going to lift and lower. And you might feel the angle of this leg contributes to more kind of lift through the spine, away from that stabilizing shoulder, so it's not compressed at all. So stay up there so you can give a little pulse in the leg. You should feel that start to condition all the way down through the side of the leg. Lower down, small circles here, go front, side, and back. Notice there's a little coordinated movement through the torso, and we go the other way. We just allow for that, right? Counter motion is really, really important in the body. So then kick forward, forward, and lengthen back. Kick, kick, reach. One more. Kick, kick. And then as you reach back, take your top arm and reach it away. Exhale quite slowly. Maybe a sh or a hiss sound to lengthen the diaphragm, the breathing muscle. And then we circle around and pull the knee. Quadricep open. Maybe you tuck your tail a little bit. Feel that opens up a little more depth into the depth of the muscle. Good, let's come all the way down. Take the legs up. And then kick your legs to challenge the balance here. Nice fast kick first. And then the arm comes up and get a bigger kick. Work with range of motion a little bit more there. Really try to challenge yourself, throw yourself off balance. Wah, 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 wah. Then the legs are going to come together. And you bend your knees. And you come up for a brief stretch in your mermaid. And then a twist away from the legs, into the legs. And then just have your hands come behind the pelvis a little bit. Take the legs up to the ceiling and just a tiny little circle in the legs. Feel the width of the shoulders into the palm of the hand. And then we take the legs to the other side, second side. Okay, you're up there on your elbow. We did a little side planking. Foot there for a supportive training tool. I've always been a little bit of a wuss about these guys, so I'm trying to work at them more in my 50s. So take a breath here, and then lower down. Top arm reaches, top leg lifts. Have abduction of the leg, right? Feeding into the core support so you feel yourself getting a little lighter on the top away from the supporting shoulder. Keep the leg up there. Pulse, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Lower down, circle, front, side, back. Front, side, back. Sometimes we miss out on that back space and go back, side, front. One more here, and then we have 3 kicks. So kick, and more of a swing and lengthen. Swing, swing, and lengthen. One more. Swing, swing. As it goes to the back, reach your top arm away. Reach. A little further. Exhale slowly. And then circle around. Take hold of your foot. Pull the knee gently. Breathe in, breathe out. Then we get off that shoulder. Feel how good it is to soften off the shoulder. Legs are going to go up, and we kick the legs really fast. 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9. Arm goes up. Keep the legs a little bigger. And challenge your balance there. 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. Legs come together and pause. And then soften back down through the legs. We have that bend of the knee. Come up to mermaid stretch. Yeah, classically legs are kind of stacked for this if that feels good to you. Otherwise, legs can splay. Ooh. And then twist away. Twist towards. We finish our little rhythmic flow here with some push-up work. So give yourself a moment on hands, knees. You can rock the body a little bit. So the shoulders kind of have a nice width as the chest kind of moves into them. Yeah, and we want to feel that as we come to the plank. If you're not planking, stay at the knees. Otherwise, come with me and try a little bit of pushing up. Again, from our plank on the forearms, can you feel back body? Right, back of the ribs, heels reaching back. Let's go for 2 more, or you take the number you need. 1 more, and then hike the pelvic bone up. Rest in your downward dog for a moment. Upper, lower, coming up to meet the pelvic bone. Nod the head, tread the feet. Do things that feel good. And then in the Pilates work, we tend to walk the hands to the feet. And you can kind of press into your feet gently. Feel the knees soften as the spine hangs. And then can you feel from the ground force under your feet, the heaviness of the tail. You roll up. And just feel that peace as you come into the upper thorax, the shoulders just softly open. Yeah, and hang out on the support of the whole body. And sometimes after the Pilates work, I really notice that sort of deep wrapping action within the body. So you might kind of notice that also here. And then we practice that for a moment here. So it's just a last little practice of balance. So see if you elevate your heels up. They just hover. Feel the spread out through the toes. And now the head is going to soften forward. Again, there's the hanger of the shoulders. Then you pause. Just see if you can kind of soften any further. Heels are going to ground you back and then roll back up. And then do that one more time. So elevate the heels. One of my favorite balance practices. See if you can soften. This could also be done on like an uneven surface. A rolled up towel or something like this. Pilates stance just really helps us refine maybe the stance, the wrapping action in the legs. And then soften the heels down. Roll back up. Take a big circling in the arms. And then take hold of your right wrist. Give that side a long pull. You might notice you want to even angle a little bit in the arms. And then work that to your second side. So long pull. Breathe into those spaces. And then come back to center. And just give yourself a moment, maybe come back through the parallel. Take that last few seconds of practice. You don't jump right back into the busyness of life. You just give yourself a moment to sense into the body. And thank you so much for joining me. See you next time.